What's going on, everyone? Nicholas Natt with Natt Fitness, and we're going to talk about it. It's uncomfortable, it's elephant in the room, but it's probably the single biggest component that affects how we feel, how we live, and ultimately our lifespan, and that is more or less the lack of sleep. So, we're working, we're getting the stuff done, we're beginning to see increase, and we're making progress in work, in our life, but then things start to stack up, right? We got the kids, or we got the next promotion, or we have the next circumstance at work, right? And so it's great that we're so dedicated, we're so motivated, but if we don't remember to unplug, then we end up compromising sleep. And I see this happen on the success and the ambition. I see this happen when people are trying to unload and they stay in front of the TV and they're getting a lack of sleep, okay? So really quick, on a brief scientific level, what I want to explain to you is basically about the effect of hormones. And so we have these things called hormones and neurotransmitters. Why are those important? Well, they're important because the central nervous system, aka our brain, our spinal cord, and our gut, connect with our body and tell our body to do all sorts of things, like to move, like to feel happy, like to feel sad. And if you have a disbalance or dysbiosis coming from the gut in hormone regulation, it's going to affect you, and I don't mean that in a good way. So let's talk a little bit about what ends up happening. First and foremost, let's talk a little bit about weight gain. It's very common and very prominent, especially approaching the holiday season where people aren't getting the kind of sleep that they want. And let's say that you have a moderate to intermediate workout routine, or you're just starting to get back in. You're not seeing the kind of results you want to see. And you're like, this doesn't make sense. I'm doing some simple things. I'm eating, I'm working out, but I'm not seeing the kind of results. Well, believe it or not, again, if you're having irregular hormone balance, you're probably in a position where your body is more receptive to gaining weight. And that's because of other imbalance in the hormones like lipogenesis. More on that later. Let's talk a little bit about mood. There's a very particular prominent hormone called serotonin. It particularly is responsible for controlling thoughts and mood. And so if you have an imbalance of sleep, your serotonin levels are going to be fluctuated because a lot of the serotonin production that happens in the night happens in the pineal gland. And if you're not sleeping, then what ends up happening is you wake up in the morning and all of a sudden you feel stress. And if you continue to do that day in, day out, that will become an automatic process. Let's talk about another one. This is a great one. This is one that's very common. How you interact with your significant other. So we all know that relationships can be difficult, right? And that's fine because you guys come from different places and that's just part of the chasm. But if you're in a position where you're not getting good sleep, this is gonna be a twofold, because one, you're probably not spending time with your significant other, which means that they're not getting the attention in the bedroom, and therefore you're gonna have an imbalance in hormones, partially from not being able to do the things that we should be doing and what the bedroom's for, but also because you're not going to be in a position where you're going to have the energy where you want to spend time with your significant other, right? Having great sleep is all about making sure that you can go through your day with the ebony highs and ebony lows and be able to commit yourself in the way that you should. Now, it doesn't mean you're not going to have stress, but more importantly, it's going to be how you respond to stress. And if you're not getting the kind of sleep that you want, you're likely going to feel lethargic. You're going to feel urge. You're going to feel impulse when you're driving in traffic. There's going to be people that might cut you off and immediately that might send you into a Sky 10. Well, that might be not as problematic until you arrive at a meeting, and then that's going to affect you, or when you go pick your kids up and they ask you a million questions. And so the short story behind my message to you is that you need to prioritize sleep, and you need to also prioritize sleep not just because of the stuff that I talked about, which is going to affect you more so on the day-to-day and how you navigate your week. But believe it or not, studies have shown that a lack of sleep shortens telomeres. All you need to know about a telomere is that a telomere is the best indicator for your lifespan. And if you're not getting sleep, slowly, bit by bit, you're chipping away at this thing, which is supposed to be the primary indicator of your lifespan. And assuming that you don't have any rush to die soon, I would highly recommend connecting with a professional and finding a way to prioritize yourself and prioritize your sleep, becoming more disciplined. And doing so is not just gonna affect your lifespan, it's gonna affect your day-to-day and how you're gonna feel. So if this has been a message for you, I highly recommend connecting with me and my community and finding out more about ways you can optimize your sleep, learning more about how this might affect you. And if you do have questions about more of the science, which I briefly touched on, I'd be more than happy to have a personal conversation. Click the link below, set up a call, and I look forward to connecting with you later. Till next time, signing off.